What if the fighter jet that could change this war is older than the pilots flying it? Ukraine's MiG-29s shouldn't stand a chance against modern systems, on paper. Yet the real story isn't about shiny new airframes. It's about how you bend imperfect machines to a brutal reality. In the next few minutes, you'll see why an outdated jet can still outthink missiles, outlast drones, and outmaneuver expectations, and what that reveals about the F-16s everyone's waiting for. Because if air power is a chess match, the winning move isn't always a newer piece. It's a smarter play. The Ukrainian sky has become a symbol of impossible survival. Every night, radar screens light up as old Soviet MiG-29s scramble to intercept drones, missiles, and enemy jets that should, by every measure, outclass them. Western nations debate endlessly about sending F-16s, the supposed game changer. But here's the twist. Both the MiG-29 and the F-16 first flew in the late 1970s. They're the same generation. So why are pilots risking their lives in 30-year-old jets while the world's most advanced air forces hesitate to help? And more importantly, what if the real power of air dominance isn't the machine, but the mind behind it? Stay with me, because what's happening over Ukraine's airspace might rewrite what we think about technology, warfare, and human ingenuity itself. On paper, the MiG-29 shouldn't stand a chance. It's a relic of the Cold War. An aircraft designed for short, defensive
is that they're going to provide crucial tactical spacing in order to focus on maintenance.
Its radar range is limited, its fuel capacity modest, and its weapons outdated compared to Russia's Su-35s and long-range missile systems. Aviation analysts have said it outright. These jets are museum pieces. So why is Ukraine still relying on them? Why risk pilots' lives flying hardware older than many of them? Because for Ukraine, there's no luxury of waiting. Every jet counts. Every takeoff is a gamble between survival and sacrifice. Yet here's where the story twists. The MiG-29s are still flying. They're hunting drones. They're dodging missiles. They're even scoring kills. And that shouldn't be possible. Unless something deeper is happening behind the scenes. Every expert expected the Ukrainian Air Force to collapse in weeks. Instead, it's adapting faster than anyone predicted. And the secret isn't in the aircraft's metal, it's in how they're being used. The question isn't how old are these jets, it's how are they still winning? To understand how the MiG-29 is still a threat in 2025, you have to look beyond the hardware. Because what Ukraine has built is not a fleet, it's a mindset. These jets have been reborn through adaptation. Mechanics strip parts from downed aircraft, coders rewrite decades-old radar software, and pilots learn to fight in ways the manuals never imagined. The MiG-29 was meant for short defensive bursts, but Ukraine has turned it into a long-range drone hunter and precision strike weapon. Think about this. Most Russian jets refuse to fly near the front anymore. Why? Because the very planes they mocked are now ambushing them. Ukrainian pilots have developed tactics where they bait enemy radar, use ground guidance, and strike fast before vanishing behind terrain. Every mission is a chess match at supersonic speed. Even the MiG's supposed weakness, its limited radar, has become an advantage. Smaller signature, less predictable, harder to track. And when you combine that with new NATO-supplied missiles and homemade jamming tech, the result is something no analyst expected. Old jets acting like new predators. The F-16 may have the superior radar, range, and avionics, but the MiG-29 has something far rarer in warfare. Pilots who've learned to make the impossible routine. Expectations said these planes should be obsolete. Reality? They're rewriting the playbook on how to survive and win when the world says you can't. Meet Major Vadim Karaya, Wojciechowski. He's one of Ukraine's MiG-29 pilots, and a living symbol of how courage can outfly technology. In a single mission, Karaya shot down 5 Iranian-made Shahed drones and 2 cruise missiles, protecting an entire city from destruction. But when debris from one of those drones hit his jet, he didn't eject in panic. He guided it away from civilians before finally pulling the handle and parachuting into a field of burning metal. That moment wasn't broadcast on news channels. There were no cinematic soundtracks, no polished press releases, just a soldier, a sky full of fire, and a choice: save himself or save others. And here's the truth: Karaya's story isn't rare. Ukrainian pilots fly knowing that every takeoff could be their last. They strap into decades-old cockpits, surrounded by peeling paint and analog gauges, and face drones, missiles, and radar locks that can end their lives in seconds. Yet they climb in anyway. Because for them, it's not about the aircraft. It's about ownership of the sky. It's about proving that even with outdated tools, a determined human spirit can still shape the battlefield. Every roar of those aging MiG engines carries something no algorithm, no upgraded radar, and no imported jet can replicate: belief. Belief that the sky still belongs to those who dare to defend it. Here's where everything flips. The MiG-29 isn't winning because it's powerful. It's winning because Ukraine stopped treating it like a jet and started using it like a system. Instead of fighting head-to-head with Russia's modern fighters, Ukraine built a hybrid air defense network. Old MiGs fly in coordination with surface-to-air missile units, drone operators, and radar crews on the ground. The result? Every MiG sortie becomes part of a massive, living web, one that can track, bait, and destroy targets far beyond what the aircraft was ever designed to do. In other words, the pilot isn't alone. He's the visible tip of a much larger, invisible structure, powered by real-time intelligence, crowdsourced drone footage, and NATO data links quietly integrated into the battlefield. This is where the F-16 obsession misses the point. Yes, the F-16 has better avionics, longer range, and deadlier missiles. But the F-16's true advantage isn't its hardware. It's how it plugs into a digital ecosystem. And that's exactly what Ukraine is already building with what it has. So when Western analysts say they need F-16s to win, they're missing something crucial. Ukraine is already doing what F-16s were designed for, without having
What
them.
I mean by this
The real
is that they're going to
breakthrough
provide
isn't the jet.
crucial tactical spacing
It's the mindset
in order to
of
focus on
adaptation,
maintenance,
the ability to turn constraints into innovation, to make every flight count, to weaponize creativity itself. Because in this new kind of war, the side that learns faster doesn't just survive. It redefines what air superiority means. So, what does all of this really mean? It means that the story of the MiG-29 isn't about an aircraft refusing to die. It's about a people refusing to give up. Ukraine's pilots have turned an outdated machine into a message. Innovation isn't about what you have. It's about what you do with it. While the world waits for F-16s to arrive, Ukraine has already learned the lesson those jets were built to teach: that victory doesn't come from the size of your arsenal, but from the strength of your adaptability. The MiG-29s have become more than weapons. They're proof that even in a technological war, human ingenuity can still outfly any algorithm. Every time those engines ignite, they carry more than rockets or radar. They carry a defiant heartbeat. The sound of a nation that refuses to let the laws of impossible dictate its future. And maybe that's the real secret of modern air power. It's not about who has the newest jets, it's about who can take the old ones and still win. Because when the dust clears and the sky goes quiet, it won't just be about MiGs or F-16s. It'll be about something far greater: the will to fight, the creativity to adapt, and the courage to keep flying when everything says you shouldn't. And that's how an old fighter jet became a symbol of a new kind of strength. The kind that doesn't age, doesn't rust, and never runs out of fuel. If you made it this far, you already understand something most people don't. Wars aren't just fought with weapons. They're fought with ideas, innovation, and courage. So here's the question I'll leave you with. If a handful of pilots can take a 40-year-old machine and redefine modern air warfare, what could you do with what's already in your hands? Don't wait for perfect tools. Don't wait for better conditions. Start where you are and make the impossible work for you. Because whether it's in the skies over Ukraine or in your own life, the same rule applies. It's not the machine that wins. It's the mind that flies it. If this story inspired you, hit subscribe, not for algorithms or numbers, but because the next story we uncover might just change how you see the world again. Until then, keep learning, keep adapting, and keep flying forward. Remember how we started, with a simple question. What if the jet that could change this war was older than the pilots flying it? Now you know the answer. It's not just possible. It's happening right now over the skies of Eastern Europe. Those MiG-29 aren't relics. They're reminders that ingenuity beats intimidation, that courage outlasts technology, and that sometimes the most powerful upgrade isn't silicon or steel. It's the human spirit. So as the next generation of jets lines up on the runway, one truth will stay grounded forever. The future doesn't belong to the newest machines. It belongs to those who refuse to stop flying. Beat pause, cinematic fade. Because in the end, the jet doesn't make the hero. The hero makes the jet.